So, namaste and welcome to Satsang today. It's always a really special time when we can all gather together here in Satsang. Just the one being and many bodies gathering together. One being in Satsang and one being learning about itself, recognizing itself through many different body minds. And although our journeys are unique and individual, it is really the same journey that we all undertake, and that is to see clearly what we really are already. And then also to see what we are not, to let go of who we used to think we were, these old ideas. And in actuality, both of those are going on at the same time. As we see clearer who we automatically see clearer who we are not, as we see that we are the one formless being. We see that we're not primarily a form. We're appearing as a form too, lots of forms. But first and foremost, our essential nature is formlessness, emptiness, nothingness, intangibility. As we see that we are effortless, we see clearer that we're not any effort that seems to be going on. As we see that we are invisible, we recognize that whatever is visible cannot really be what we are. And yet, it's the way that we're appearing, both the visible, tangible outer world and the visible, perceptible inner world of thoughts and emotions and sensations. And as we see that there is only one being, one formless consciousness, we see even more clearly that we are not separate from each other. Our bodies appear to be separate from each other, but there is one being, one field of infinite consciousness from which all of these body minds and all of our forms arise from. And as we start to recognize more clearly who we are, and even before that has happened, even when we're drawn to satsang because of some pull, some attraction, some compulsion from inside, even before we might have recognized who we really are, we're going to be living more and more acutely aware of who we are not. We're going to really notice when it seems like we have to strive to get to somewhere. And we're going to really notice and feel it. And we feel like a someone when our body feels contracted or tense, or there's some negative emotion or something going on in our experience that we don't like or want. And without realizing it, we can subtly get caught in a cycle of trying to get rid of what is not here. So as we see that there is just the one being, the one formless consciousness that is everywhere at all times and is the only thing that really exists both as formlessness and all these forms, intangible, formless consciousness, but also appearing as what we're conscious of, thoughts, bodies, trees, planets, houses. As that gets clearer, that there's just one being, and we'll notice this sense of separation wherever it pops up in our life. The feeling that I'm a me, I'm separate. This body mind is all that I am. And we might fall into this trap of trying to get rid of that. I subscribe to the idea, like probably almost everyone does, that my purpose here in Satsang is to see who I am and then to get rid of who I am not, so that every time a sense of separation arises, I immediately go to work to try to get rid of it. Maybe I do some self-inquiry or contemplation or some meditation with the aim of coming back to wholeness and moving away from this sense of separation. And for a long time, my unconscious mantra was I have seen who I am, but what do I do when this sense of a person pops up, this sense of a someone really seeking and striving and efforting? How do I get rid of that so that there's only truth remaining? Or how do I merge that sense of separation into the wholeness that I am, the emptiness of consciousness? And I see many beings also stuck in this, seemingly stuck in this cycle, trying really, really hard to see who they are and trying really, really hard to get rid of what they thought they were, to eliminate all thoughts in duality, in two-ness, in multiplicity. And it's an endless task that never succeeds. You cannot get rid of what you never were. So when the sense of a separate being arises, and we notice that urge to do something about it, to try to get rid of it, or to move away from it, come back to truth. Anything that we try to do in that moment is an illusion. What does that mean? It means that what we come to see is that we are only seeing. We're not doing anything. The body and the mind are doing things. Well, the body's doing things and the mind is thinking about doing things. And one of the last places that we think we are doing is we think that we are falling back into illusion. I had this really nice seeing, and for a moment it was clear that I am consciousness itself, never have been a person, that there was never two, only one. And then a minute later, I am lost seemingly in thoughts about being a someone again. And so in those moments when the sense of a separate self appears, in those moments, then what do we actually do? What is the best thing, the best way to approach illusion when it arises, the sense of being a someone? And that is to remember, if we can, and that gets easier and easier as we begin to see that we're only seeing, that consciousness can only be conscious. It cannot do anything. That stillness is not doing anything. These are all names for what we are. Emptiness does not have a to-do list. So simply said, anything we try to do about getting rid of illusion or getting out of illusion is going to make it feel more real, more solid. And I think that we've all experienced this many, many times. We might have some peace, some clarity for a short while, an aha moment, that an epiphany that arises. And then later, something comes to the surface that feels sticky and is to do with separation. Some karmic pattern arises, and we feel that we have gone with that into illusion. I believed the thought. I went back into illusion. But if we know, if we have investigated what it means to be intangible, formless consciousness, presence, silence, just beingness before form, and we can easily avoid this trap. If I am only seeing right now, if I am intangible, insubstantial seeingness, if what I am by my most essential nature is omnipresent insubstantiality, that is pure intelligence, pure awareness, that whenever anything seems to need to be done, like coming, I need to get back out of illusion, back to just seeing, we can stop and say, hey, I'm not subscribing to that. I'm just recognizing again that I am only seeing. And that which we are is free right now, only seeing. Totally intangible, even less tangible than space and time and distance. Even less tangible than the gases in the air right now that are here, that my lungs are breathing, that I can't see. Completely intangible is what I am, what you are. As that intangibility, you have absolutely no way to interact with any form at all. Intangible, formless consciousness cannot ever interact with form. That means you are not believing thoughts. You are not doing self-inquiry. You are not accepting or rejecting an emotion. You're just seeing. Seeing from nowhere in particular. Seeing from the vast depth of this omnipresent insubstantiality. Seeing from literally everywhere all at once. And when we see through human eyes, and we see what the body's doing, talking, thinking, and somehow a thought arises, that's what I'm doing. But if we can remember and come back to the only thing that's true, which is we are here as formless consciousness that is only seeing, that cannot do, cannot interact with any form, not even the tiniest atom, or the universe itself, has been changed by you, the formless consciousness, directly. And that's really, really massive if you sit for a moment with it. You have you have never done anything other than see. And you have seen thoughts come and go. You have seen emotions come and go. You have seen body minds come and go. Universes come and go. But you have never interacted with any form. You are completely insubstantial. And yet you are looking from inside every form. Inside this form, you are looking from. You are watching, seeing, listening, sensing, awake to whatever happens in phenomena. But you're not interacting with phenomena at all. Why is this so important to recognize? Well, when the sense of illusion arises again, a sense of separation next time, or maybe even now as you're listening, I need to understand the mindset. I need to get this. I need to make sure I don't forget this, the mind says. What can you do about that? Nothing. There is no way directly for you to make something happen. Paradoxically, as we realize that I have never even believed a thought, I am free now, you are free now, as the consciousness, presence. And you will always be free, and you have always been free. By its very nature, the formlessness that you are, the intangibility, cannot be impacted by any form at all. It means you did not identify with that body that you're looking through. Thought identified. Thought said, I am this body. Seeing that we're only seeing is our safety, is our home. Seeingness, seeing itself. And then anything that seems to need to be done can be simply discarded. The body will do whatever it needs to do, and it will do it efficiently. What I'm talking about here is the doingness that holds on right at the end. I need to stop falling back into illusion, says the mind. I'm the one falling into illusion again, says the mind. Well, you simply see it. So some emotion arises, some thoughts, a sense of being drawn into it, going with it. And it's all seen by you, all just seen. And then later, seem to come back out of it, back to clarity, and still that is just seen by you. What would it mean if you were just seeing? And to the mind, this seems incredibly dull. What's the point of being here, says the mind, if I can't play with all of this? And it's not so much that we're playing with all of these forms, because we're not, but we're playing as all of these forms, showing up as whatever we're perceiving. And the forms themselves have no actual power. It's all you, the formless consciousness that is the infinite power that animates all form. So when illusion seems to come again, can we remember that we are just seeing? Can we see that there is only seeing when I check and see what I am? And I'm more than happy to help you if you want to, when we go to the questions and answers, to look and see that there is only insubstantiality that you are, appearing as all of these forms. To see that and to see it again and again, that I am just formless awareness, consciousness, presence, present to all forms, even this form that arises that we call illusion, a very subtle form. The separate sense of self pops back up again at some point. What happens if you just see it? And even if you feel you're believing it, just see that too. Entertaining no ideas that I have to do something about illusion. It's not there. It only seems to be. It's a sense of a separate self, not an actual separate self. From the place of just seeing before form, what does it matter whether the form that you're appearing as is illusion or clarity? Does it matter? No. Of course, we'd like peace and joy and freedom in the body, a sense of freedom, because the body will feel better then, of course. How do we get to that though? By remembering that there is nothing for you to fix or get rid of, and you cannot do that anyway. You are simply aware. And far from being boring or dull, as the mind says, it is the greatest freedom, the deepest joy, total security. No one can even find you to hurt you or harm you. And even if they could find you, you'd be everywhere. How can you hurt something that is completely insubstantial? So I will stop there, but I hope that I have really encouraged you to really examine if there's something you need to do about illusion. What do you need to do about illusion? What can you do about illusion when it arises? If you are the one being already, then even illusion is you rising this way. You can appear as formlessness or form. You can appear as truth or illusion. So I can see a few hands going up here. Can I ask for no more hands right now, just in case? And we'll see how the time goes. If you have your hand up, keep it up. I'll try to get to everyone. So we'll start with Nicholas, I think. You're still muted there. Wonderful.
Voy a necesitar traducción. Hola, Helen.
Hola.
I'm going to need translation.
It's good. You should be able to hear the translation already. Can you hear? It's good? Yeah, wonderful.
Sí, muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. De verdad. Quería preguntarte, en este caso parece reconocerse usualmente ese
In
espacio.
in this case, it seems that there is a recognition in this space.
Y a veces ocurre que en determinadas situaciones el cuerpo se tensa demasiado.
And in some situations, the body tenses a lot.
Creo que como una especie de reacciones traumáticas que hacen que se vele esa conciencia.
Like traumatic situations that make the consciousness shrouded.
Entonces la pregunta es, al parecer, no hay, no puede ser visto ese ver, es como que está demasiado cerca la tensión o la emoción.
So the question is, I can't see the consciousness because it's covered over by this tension.
Let's look and see if that is really true, that you can't see consciousness even then. Shall we look together? Yeah.
Sí.
So sometimes consciousness is clear. Let's look right now. Let's experience together that consciousness. And everyone can join us if we want to join in. So what you really are, is it form or formless?
Se informa.
Formless.
And is that consciousness changing?
No,
So when it looks at itself, it sees its formless nature, as you were just saying. And then sometimes it seems to turn around and look at thoughts, tension in the body, and all of that. But the fact that we're conscious of thoughts and tension is showing us that the consciousness is still here, still watching.
sí.
Does it matter to you as consciousness what you're looking at? Are you any different whether you're looking at confusion, doubt, tension, or whether you're looking at clarity and insight?
Usualmente cuando hay menos estímulos, parece que fuese más fácil verlo que cuando
U-
estoy en una situación social.
Usually, when there's a lot of stimulus, it's easier to see than when I'm in a social situation.
But can't you see that it feels harder to see? You know, you're conscious of. Now it feels easy here, and now it feels harder here. You're watching both of those. You are before both of those as consciousness. Now, here with us together in Satsang, it may feel easier. There's just consciousness recognizing itself. And then later in a social situation, it might feel more difficult. But we are completely conscious of that feeling that it's difficult. Consciousness is still here. And whether it feels difficult or easy, we are that which knows that, right? Already. Can it really be more difficult or easier in certain circumstances to recognize who you are if you are already consciousness? And all that's changing is what you're looking at is changing. In Satsang here, we're looking at you, consciousness. Later in the world, we're looking at uh, our boss, our family, our children, our work, whatever. But still, we are the looking that's aware of it, right? Can anything block you from seeing this consciousness that you are? Even this feeling of being
No,
blocked, I can't find consciousness right now. I feel blocked. Something is conscious of even that feeling, isn't it?
hay como ciertas sensaciones que se vuelven más personales.
Some sensations are more personal than others. They smell more personal.
Yeah. But from the consciousness, they're all impersonal. Doesn't matter, right? Happy thoughts, sad thoughts, bliss, peace, and joy, or fear and shame. It's all the same to consciousness. And whatever passes in front of you, you can use. Even this feeling of being really blocked. I can't find who I am today. Even this, I can recognize that something is seeing this, even. And can any form at all stop you from seeing who you are?
No.
Even in the busiest of airports, so much noise, so many bodies, sense of overwhelm. I just can't do it today. Still, this is seen, right? It is known. Now you're smiling.
Gracias.
It's wonderful. I used to have this too. Every time my children were demanding attention or something, I can't see who I am this at this time, you know? When I'm sitting in meditation, I can, but not here. And I had to do this investigation as well. Even this sense of, oh, I just want to go and sit in a quiet room and meditate. Even this I could be conscious of, conscious too. So even those situations where it seemed difficult before, you can go and test this out now and prove that you can see, and there's nothing that can stop you seeing.
Mm. Hay, hay un reconocimiento que siento que florece
There's a
y,
recognition that is flowering,
y hay ciertas contracciones corporales que ahora que las veo están surgiendo en la conciencia.
and
No lo
there
estaba
are
viendo así.
bodily contractions that are happening, and now I can see that they're happening from consciousness.
Yeah. Whatever you see helps to reaffirm that I am seeing. And when you recognize nothing can stop you from seeing, what you see begins to change by itself to more and more pleasant. If the purpose of these contractions and this sense of feeling blocked is to help you see that nothing can block you, now it can go away, right? It's done its job.
Wow.
So good. So good. Wonderful.
Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, we'll go to Macarena.
Hola,
Hola.
Helen, mi pregunta es, como la conciencia que somos, la vida la experimentamos sin poder modificarla.
As consciousness, do we experience life without being able to modify it?
Shall we look and see together? Because I could tell you the answer, but it's much better if you see it for yourself.
¿Cómo? Justo se me cortó.
Her audio cut.
You want me to
So
say it again? Yeah? Shall I say it again? Yeah. I was only saying, shall we look together and see? Yeah.
Sí, sí, sí.
Much more fun. So let's look and see what you are. Let's try to directly experience what you really are. What do you find?
Encuentro conciencia experimentándose
I find consciousness experiencing itself
Beautiful. And
con emociones y con muchos pensamientos.
with emotions and many thoughts.
so, can consciousness that you are change those thoughts or emotions? Can it do anything with them? Take your time with this one.
No, siento que para la conciencia todo es hermoso.
I feel that for consciousness, everything is beautiful.
So, consciousness cannot change anything directly. And does that feel good or terrible news? Is that good news or bad news? That you can't change these thoughts and emotions? Or both?
Las dos.
Both.
Consciousness says, yes, it's good news. And the mind says, no, it's terrible, terrible, bad news. Yeah. But just for a moment, let's allow together, and everyone again can do this. Let's allow the fact that we cannot do anything with these thoughts and emotions. Let's just really let that in. They're here, these thoughts, these emotions, and I'm perceiving them as consciousness. But I can't do anything about them. I can't do anything about them. I can't do anything about them. What happens to those thoughts and emotions when you really let this in? Are they still here?
En este momento, no.
In this moment, no.
So isn't that strange that when we really admit we cannot do anything with them, they're gone? So what if their purpose, what if the mind's purpose is to constantly give us thoughts until we stop trying to change them and see that we can't change them? What if the purpose of all phenomena is to show us that we are just here, just watching? And then the phenomena rearrange themselves to pleasant ones, peace and lightness and ease. And it's strange that when we see that these thoughts and emotions are just arising inside the consciousness, that Instead of feeling powerless, well, mind might feel powerless. We see we are the infinite power from which all thoughts arise. But even before we see that, consciousness does not have a problem with thoughts or emotions. Doesn't have a problem with anything, does it? Mind, our mind doesn't like this answer because it wants to know what to do. But we're here to see that we're seeing, just the seeing of the fact that I can't do anything somehow does everything.
Sí, es que cuando uno tiene un deseo
Is that when one has a desire
y, y no sucede lo que a uno le gustaría,
and what one wants doesn't happen,
sabes que es porque, vamos a decir, el cuerpo o la mente se creyeron una historia.
the body and the mind has believed the story.
Cuando yo estoy viviendo esa historia y voy hacia la conciencia,
When I'm living that story and I go towards consciousness,
me doy cuenta que es porque quiero salir de eso que estoy viviendo.
I realize that it's because I want to get out of that I'm living.
Let's check the consciousness again. Let's check it again together. Let's experience that again. Can it be lost in illusion? Consciousness. Can it believe thoughts?
No.
So, can it do anything with, let me say that again. A desire arises and it's seen by consciousness. Did we ever do anything to make desires manifest as consciousness? What can we do with desires?
No sé.
I don't know.
Let's check again this formless consciousness that we are. Can it even make a desire manifest? Does it have to, okay, now I know what I want, now I have to make it show up for me, make it appear? Or is it just simply conscious of a desire? Just conscious.
Sí, solo consciente.
So, how do desires manifest then? How does any desire manifest if we're not doing it? It's a strange question. Maybe inherent in the desire, inside the desire already, is the beginning of the manifestation. So desire arises and then turns into the manifestation of it. Unless, as you said, there is some thought that seems to limit that manifestation, some idea, some belief. But as consciousness, you have no beliefs, no karmic patterns as consciousness. And you simply watch the desire arise, and then it fulfills itself effortlessly. What do you need to do as consciousness to make a desire manifest?
No, como la conciencia, nada, pero a veces la experiencia es contraria.
As consciousness, nothing, but the experience is sometimes the opposite.
So you as consciousness are simply watching lots of thoughts about how do I make this happen? How do I do this? So desire arises and you see it as consciousness, and lots of thoughts arise. How do I make this manifest? And you see those too. Still, you're not doing anything. Desire arises, and a person seemingly, I need to do this, make it happen. Have you ever done anything as consciousness?
No.
So instead, we can recognize that when a desire arises, that must be evidence that it's already beginning to manifest. When desire arises, it's showing us that it's about to become something in form already, and that we cannot stop that as consciousness. It's only this idea that we have to make it happen that stops it from happening. I'll say that again because it's so important. It's only the sense that I have to make my desires manifest that stops them from manifesting. But if you see that you're just here effortlessly as consciousness, and let's experience it one more time together. You're not making any effort as consciousness, right? Totally free already. Totally free. Next time a desire arises, you can just watch it arise and make no effort to do anything about it at all and see what happens. And even if thoughts arise, I need to do this, see what happens. Just watch those two. It's too simple, right, for the mind. Too too easy for the mind to like. Yeah.
Sí.
Everything
Sí.
is happening by itself, including desires manifesting. They're just arising, we see them, and we see a sense of someone that needs to do it, make it happen. And it happens by itself anyway. Something to stay with and watch as the desires arise. Even right now, if there is a desire to understand this clearly, completely, right? I really want to get this. Just watch that desire arise. Just watch and do nothing about it and see how quickly it manifests. And let me know next time, yeah? If you want to. Yeah.
Dale.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you, thank you.
Gracias.
Wonderful.
Gracias.
Thank you. Okay. We'll go to Miguel.
Total, okay. Now,
Here we
yes.
go.
Oh, thank you, Helen.
Hi
So
there.
happy. Um, what you said today, it feels true. But it's like I see that I've been for a long time. I see like I believe that I am a separate self, so I experience that. So always I associate that I believe means that consciousness believe. Like also I hear many times consciousness is hypnotized with phenomena, which I never understood how that could be. But now I see like we are before seeing that we are looking at consciousness or we are looking at thoughts. Like I was associating like when we are looking at consciousness, that is what we are.
Yeah.
But when we are looking at thoughts, but no, it's like we are before looking at consciousness or looking at thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that which is before, that which is the same, whether it's looking at thoughts or itself, it cannot believe a thought. It can simply just see them.
Yeah, but then can a thought believe a thought? Because then who believe is a separate self? Who get hypnotized? Because yeah, I can see myself, okay, I got lost.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can see, oh, that is a thought.
Yeah.
And then I came back and then I can see that is a thought. Because when I come back, consciousness doesn't say, oh my God, you have been lost for such a long time. Consciousness is the same that it was before.
Mm.
It's not making any fuss about good or bad. It's just is.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making any sense, but
You're speaking like a sage now. Consciousness isn't believing thoughts. Consciousness is always free. It cannot believe a thought, even. Something says, I'm getting lost in illusion again. And then later it says, I'm coming back out now. I'm remembering who I am. But as you said, those are thoughts. I am caught in illusion is a thought. And now I'm free again is another thought, both watched from consciousness that is already free. Who believes the thoughts then? Well, nobody, nothing. There's no believer of thoughts. There's just thoughts arising about believing thoughts, right? And then thoughts arising about coming back to clarity. When those thoughts are given a lot of attention, the body feels tight and contracted. When those thoughts are given very little attention, the body feels wonderful. But still, you haven't changed as consciousness. Can consciousness believe a thought? And can you find can you find a believer of thoughts right now if you look? Is there someone believing that needs to be removed?
then can consciousness experience even itself?
In a way, it's always free, right? As formless consciousness. It's always free. Then when it appears as a human being, it thinks it's lost. And then it thinks its way back to freedom. But has it ever actually been lost? Even if it takes
Yeah.
100,000 years in earthly time and 1,000 bodies to go from I am lost in illusion to that thought to I have always been free as consciousness. Nothing has actually happened to that which is watching the thoughts, right? Realization happens in the mind. Awakening happens in the thought process. We're simply watching even that.
Then it thinks that it's lost.
Yeah.
Consciousness can think that it's lost. No,
In the form it can, when it appears as a human being.
in the form.
But still, in the formlessness, before form, it's still free.
Hmm. Yeah, I see that what yeah, there is that I who want to experience consciousness all the time.
Yeah. Which is watched
And
by consciousness, right?
yes,
All the
and
time.
what the thing is like, there is an idea of what is experiencing consciousness, which is looking at consciousness. But then the idea of when you are looking at thoughts is also looking,
Yeah. There's
but the
only
experience is different.
whatever we're looking at changes. And if we're looking at phenomena, the body will reflect that. It will feel tighter and tense and sometimes, a negative emotion. If we're looking at ourselves, consciousness, the body reflects that too and feels open and free and light. In a way, there's only really two states we ever experience, and one is when we're just being consciousness, watching itself. And then there's when consciousness that we are looks at thoughts. And your body tells you all the time, right, which one you're doing, which one you're seeing.
But if for consciousness it doesn't matter one thing or the other,
Yeah.
why to do anything?
Are you doing anything?
It seems I am.
What if even this whole awakening journey is happening effortlessly in front of you, the formless consciousness? Like you're watching a really good movie and you keep thinking that you're one of the characters in the movie. But then you remember, I'm just sitting here watching this movie. You can't change the movie. It's going to play how it plays, right? And it always ends up the same, this movie, no matter which human being uh, goes through it. Always ends at total awakening in the mind and the body and the life. But the consciousness that's watching has not changed at all, nor could it. And it's not doing anything to make awakening happen. In our meditation, we see that consciousness is just already here and free, just is. And in our self-inquiry, and we see that too. In our contemplation, we see that these beliefs were never mine, actually. I am the one watching these beliefs appear. So what if even this awakening journey and all spiritual practice, attending this satsang, everything, every book you've ever read about awakening is just happening by itself? Isn't that
In
incredible?
front of me.
Yeah. The moment we realize that, there's a kind of freedom that never goes away. Not I'm free right now in this moment. I'm always free, always free. Even when something arises, is I need to do some self-inquiry to make sure I remember what I've just heard on Satsang. Self-inquiry will either happen or it doesn't, right? Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Big wow, big wow. Thank you. Ooh, okay. Raphael?
Hi, Helen.
Hi.
Um, so I don't really have any questions or problems to talk about.
That's okay. We can just say hi, see what
Yeah,
comes up.
I just wanted to say hello and kind of talk to you, or it's
Works for me. Yeah, yeah. And it's nice to meet without an agenda, right? Like I have to remember a question that I need to ask so that I don't look stupid in that moment or something. What does it feel like to just meet like this?
feels very fresh,
Mm.
light.
And there's no need to control what's said at all, right? If we're going to make a fool out of ourselves, we'll do it together here, both of us. Yeah. And what if all life could be like this? The whole of our life.
Yeah. I try as much as possible, or try and let that happen as much as it can, and to the extent that's possible in practical daily life.
Is it possible that all of life could be like that? Or are there some parts of it? Because my mind said, when I'm driving, I have to really, I can't just show up effortlessly with no ideas. And when I'm raising the kids, and then later when I'm teaching, I can't just show up effortlessly. And even at work, if we have a busy work where we have to, our mind is focused during the day, still, we can just show up to that, right? To whatever that day involves. And just the intention to allow this effortless meeting of what is to eventually take over our whole waking state is making it happen. And you can feel something inside is just getting very tired of thinking that I'm doing something and I have to make this happen, right? It's just too tiring now to imagine that we have to navigate our whole waking state. I mean, we used to think we were doing that all the time. That's just weird, isn't it? Now, more and more. Who knows what these body minds will do in the next moment?
It's very mysterious.
But there's no problems here, right?
It doesn't seem to be.
And even if a problem arises in front of you, still you're just bearing witness to it and watching it unfold.
Mm.
How free are you right now?
I feel quite free in presence in the moment. Um, I realize there's like a little thought in the back of my mind saying, you know,
But
raise raise your hand and say nothing or
yeah,
something, but it's still very enjoyable. So
this is this is just as valuable as any question that needs answering, right? Just human beings can actually just meet and see what happens. Meet from presence, right? As presence, as consciousness. Maybe something happens, maybe nothing happens. But it's enjoyable either way.
mm,
And then we get a taste of that. We can then take that into the rest of our lives. What's it like to just show up to my family or to my work or and even if I need to prepare something, preparation will happen. And I'm just here watching that process go on.
yeah, it's
Even this
been
sense that you're gradually becoming more and more present. It's just happening in front of you, right? Can you see that? There's something watching even that. I'm spending more and more time as the presence. That even that is you're present to that, right? You're conscious of that.
yeah, it seems more and more like kind of to paraphrase what you're saying, that things just do themselves and just let them play out. And even when I notice like excuse me, like maybe a karmic patterns or something playing out again, it doesn't bother me so much. It doesn't feel like there's much to do about it, and just let it be, and it'll work itself out. And
Yeah. And if we can't seem to let it be, some kind of practice will arise, right? Some contemplation, some self-inquiry or something. Or the body will go for a walk or something. And somehow it gets resolved.
mm,
I used to when it was really bad, this sense of being someone, like really intense. I used to just put some music on and dance around the kitchen because that's the only place no one else could actually see me dancing because I don't dance very well.
mm.
Well, I haven't tried in a little while, so and that sometimes was enough to just, come back to clarity.
What kind of music?
Oh, all sorts. I was very spiritual for a while, so I only listened to bhajans, of course, spiritual, very spiritual. But I grew up with heavy metal, so I also love that still and occasionally listen to it. And I used to love dance music and literally anything. If you could see my playlists, they're very, very weird, very weird, everything. And now, since living in America, I'm discovering country music as well. So see where that goes.
The big one.
Yeah. It's I had certain playlists for certain moods. When I was very angry, I would have this playlist. When I was really sad, this one. So, and then when I was being very spiritual, I would have all my list of bhajans that I loved. But yeah, I still listen to them. They're amazing. So
Mm.
the body does what it does, right?
What heavy metal, can I ask?
Oh, that would be a very long list. Yeah. Maybe we could go through that another time, but yeah. The heaviest, we could say, yeah.
Mm.
Which might be quite surprising. There's a pretty much a cliche, I think, about a spiritual teacher, but I'm doing my best to break all cliches about teaching if I can. So, yeah.
That's very reassuring to hear because I grew up with like punk and hardcore and metal and still sometimes really, really love the really extreme music. And there's a little part of me that's like, oh, does this mean anything or is it just what I like? Because who knows?
There was
Yeah.
a time right after awakening started to really blossom that I didn't listen to anything except for bhajans because, like I said, I was being very spiritual. And, I shouldn't listen to anything like that. I stopped watching TV and stopped reading fiction books and only read, you know how it goes, right? And after a while, I just realized everything is spiritual. So there's no, let me just have some fun. So, that's it kind of came back full circle, but I could just listen to that kind of music or just watch the TV without feeling like I should be doing something else.
Mm,
And when I listen to bhajans, I love the bhajans. When I listen to metal, I love the metal. There's nothing within me anymore that's going, oh, you should not do that. So it's the greatest freedom.
mm,
Yes, the person who just put that thing in there, yes, definitely. I went to see them last year, so yeah, Slayer. So anyway, this conversation is going way off track, but it's quite amazing where it went, right?
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I so appreciate your teaching and just want to, I don't know, wanted to connect with you and contact you and yeah,
Yeah.
in this way.
So we're always right here, right?
Mm,
All of us together here.
mm.
There's a lot of room in here. Infinite space. Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I think that seeing as how we had nothing to say to each other, we did quite well.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Helen.
Okay, that is a good place to leave it for today. Whatever music you listen to after this, or if you start dancing, or whatever you do, if you put the TV on, just see if you can enjoy it and have some fun. Thank you. Namaste.